Viewpoint on WDEV. I'm Rick Singari. And Vermont Viewpoint is getting out, broadcasting at wonderful spots around the state as part of WDEV's 90th anniversary. This morning, it's our fourth stop on the tour after visits to Cabot, Waitsfield, and Randolph. This morning, I'm nestled into the Elmore Store in Elmore, and we're going to spend the next couple hours getting to know some of the businesses in town, the interesting personalities. We'll get a sense of what Elmore is all about. This morning's show is sponsored by Osborne Family Syrup, producing certified organic pure maple syrup in Ferdinand, Vermont, OsborneMaple.com. Sotheby's Honey, a veteran family-owned beekeeping company in Morristown, producing Vermont pure honey, Sotheby'sHoney.com. And Elmore Mountain Farm, a farm-based handcrafter of natural body care products located in northern Vermont, ElmoreMountainFarm.com. Well, we're going to have to change our schedule just a little bit, and we're going to have the two proprietors of the Elmore Store lead off this morning. First of all, with me is Kate Gluckman. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning.
All right, and we also have Mike Stanley. Mike, thank you for being here as well.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Of course, you two have to be here. This is what your store, and you're running it. And it's been since when? When did you start here at the store?
We took over at the new year, so January 1st.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so not even 3 months.
All right, but still getting your sea legs a little bit here.
So,
All right. So now I know you're originally from Vermont, Kate. Where in Vermont are you from?
Yeah, I grew up in Morrisville. I went to People's Academy, graduated from there. But before that, my family has always owned a small house on Shadow Lake in Glover, Vermont, and so we lived sort of all over growing up. But would always come for the summers there, and so that really feels like our Vermont home.
No, I love it. Yeah, a lot of neat things to do in Glover, another town that I really enjoy getting away to. So what took you away from Vermont?
Initially college took me away, and then just pursuing my career. And Mike and I met in Iowa, and I was out there after college coaching women's basketball, and Mike was teaching, and then we moved to Mississippi 8.5 years ago for Mike's job as at Delta State University. So just pursuing our careers really took us all over. But I think I was able to introduce Vermont to Mike, and he fell in love with it as well. And so we've always been able to come back at least once or twice a year. Now I'm excited to live there.
Women's basketball in Iowa could be among the most intense of anywhere in the country. Am I right?
Well, I don't want to say that because other people would get angry.
But it is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And Mike, where are you originally from?
I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, but place has always been difficult for me. We lived there for a while when I was a kid, and then we moved to Colorado, a couple different places in Colorado. Then we moved to Western Iowa, where I graduated high school, and then from there I was in the Merchant Marines, and then went to school at Texas A&M, and then University of South Dakota, and then eventually found myself in New Orleans and was living there until Hurricane Katrina. And then after Katrina, I went to grad school at Iowa State. And then they hired me after that, and I taught at Iowa State University for 5 years. And then we moved to Mississippi, and I was back down south, and we lived there for almost 9 years, and now we're in Vermont.
Oh, well, welcome, and great to have you. Now, when you say Western Iowa, most people don't know a single town out there. But I once had to move my family moved my brother to Lamar's, Iowa.
The ice cream capital. Yeah, totally. I know where Lamar's is. Yeah.
It's the home of Blue Bunny ice cream. It's known as I think the town of millionaires, and used to have a school called Westmar College.
Yeah,
Westmar.
Westmar. Yeah, I know Westmar.
That's
Yeah.
where my brother went for a short time. So you're there in Mississippi. This is not like Mississippi. So what got you to move from Mississippi to Vermont?
You'd be amazed at the similarities. Where we lived in Mississippi was incredibly rural. It was in the northwestern, it was in the Delta. It was almost 98% farming community, very isolated, and so those are very similar, except the weather is the biggest difference.
Yeah. I moved here from Miami, Florida, so
so you get it.
I understand the adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a little adjustment. The culture here is different. People talk a little funny, but different here, just like in Mississippi.
That's true. And then we do have the Vermont accent, which I have not acquired in my time here, almost 20 years. But I hear a little bit of a lilt of southern accent with you, just a hair. I don't hear it with Kate. Your thought, now you've lived in the north before, in South Dakota, so you have some idea of what it's like. But this is a perfect winter day, so how are you adjusting to moving from that first winter? Can be the most difficult when you go from down south to up here.
I'll say it was exceptionally cold when we first moved here. It was like 30 below zero or something. So it was a slap in the face for sure. But luckily we've had a couple of nice days, and the sun comes out more than it does in the Midwest. So I've really enjoyed that a lot more. And to be honest, the scenery just makes it worth it. It's just every corner you come around, it's just so beautiful, and there's something there's just the natural beauty of Vermont is great.
And you got the lake right here.
Oh, I know. I mean, talk about hitting the jackpot in terms of where you're landing. It's just as beautiful as it can be.
Yeah. I like that you say some nice days, which is probably somewhere in the 30s. That's spoken like a true Vermonter.
It's amazing how you acclimate. Yeah, 30 is all of a sudden warm. Yeah.
So, Kate, how did it transpire that you and Mike came to run the Elmore Store?
Yeah, so I've had a couple different sort of career choices, and most recently in Mississippi, I was running a small bagel company called Big River Bagels, and working for a artist collective called the
Coahoma
I just blinked out it, Coahoma Collective. And what we were doing there was running a small general store and garden center, and so I was having this retail experience and food experience down in Mississippi, and then we saw the posting from the Elmore Community Trust and their call for proposals to run this store. And growing up in Vermont, like, the general store played a big part of what I imagined community to be. So in Glover, it was Courier's Market, and Jimmy Courier was like a hero of mine. He was Glover, Vermont. And
all that taxidermy.
Yeah, all that taxidermy. Right, But him behind the deli counter and just always remembering who I was, even though he'd see me maybe twice a year, So I just really appreciated the role that general stores played in Vermont. So we were really excited about the possibility and really energized by the people in the trust, getting to see young people like our age. I guess we're not too young, but younger people just really taking a stake in their community and saying, like, this is important to us if we're going to do something about it was really motivating, and we wanted to work with folks like that. And so we, and I've always wanted to move back to Vermont. And unfortunately, this past spring, my father passed away, and so it just made the timeline seem a lot shorter, and we wanted to move quickly to be closer to my mom and my sister who live in Vermont. So we put in an application and had a couple phone calls, and then we're very surprised, actually, I think, to be given the opportunity.
Wow.
And it was an easy choice.
So did you see the call for proposals first?
Yeah, I saw it because I follow and admire Blair Marvin at Elmore Mountain Bread, and so she was posting about it, and we had known each other when we were younger, and so I follow her.
And we'll be speaking to her a little later today. Mike, what did you think when Kate said, "Hey, I've got an idea. I think we should go run a general store in Elmore, Vermont"?
Well, the first thing I said was, we have to check it out. We have to go and take a look and see what this place is all about.
Yeah.
But it's like Kate said, with the loss of her father, it really felt like we needed to get up here, and it felt more urgent. So it was a little crazy, I was like, okay, so, I'm going to give up. I was tenured. I used to be the chair of the department at Delta State University, and I was like, well, giving up my career to pursue something different that is like I'm like a fish out of water doing this. Like Kate has some experience, but I have no experience doing this. But it just felt right, and as we were applying and as things were moving towards this, things just sort of fell into place, and it just sort of seemed like, okay, this is supposed to happen. Yeah. So it was difficult, but also easy.
The chair of what department at Delta State?
The art department.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is certainly an artful adventure.
Absolutely.
For the two of you. We're going to take a break and come back and continue speaking with Mike and Kate about running the Elmore Store. We are here live as part of our 90th anniversary tour here on WDEV. And we are live from the Elmore Store on Route 12 this morning. A wee bit of Elmore history. During the closing years of the Revolution, several men near Norwalk, Connecticut, obtained a grant of land in Vermont in payment for their services of the war. This land lay near the headwaters of the Lamoille River, and in November 1780, a charter was granted to Colonel Samuel Elmore and 64 others, and then the town was named after the colonel. Now let's get back to meeting the couple operating the Elmore Store. With me is Kate Gluckman and Mike Stanley. So Mike, what did you think when you heard that what the community had done to purchase this store, raising the money for that?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like I've never heard of anything like it before. And so when Kate approached me and said that, that there was a trust, a group of community members who wanted this to remain a store, and they bought it and they want somebody to run it, it's like, that's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, and I was really blown away by it. It's what they've done is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'll ask you both this, but do you feel, Kate, a certain amount of pressure, to run the store successfully, to meet the needs of the people of the community, to you owe a certain amount to the trust to take care of this place?
Sure, yeah, I think that, I guess I don't feel pressure, but I feel a sense of history and a sense of longevity and a real sense of honor, perhaps is a better word for it. It's sort of a steward of this community resource is how I look at And we owe a lot to Kathy and Warren Miller, for building this legacy that we get to step into. So we are nowhere near to having to start from ground zero, right? So I think that we, more than pressure, I think honor is the word that describes the feeling, but also the trust has made it very clear that this is our store and that we get to run it the way that we see is best.
Yeah.
And I think that they connected with a lot of the ideas that we put forward in our business plan about the types of events and community engagement that we want to see at the store. And for us, yes, we value being able to provide the items, the grocery items, or the post office services, but we also are looking to really build community and to do that through events and gatherings. And so I see our role really as stewarding this place and this business and putting our spin on it. And the trust is really open to what we want to do.
Well, Mike, as Kate mentioned, Kathy and Warren Miller ran the store for almost 40 years, so there's that legacy that you're continuing here.
Yeah. I mean, I know Kate says she doesn't feel. I feel pressure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
You're allowed to admit that.
Absolutely. Kathy and Warren built something fantastic here, and we want to continue it. And there's pressure that comes with that, and it's a difficult time to be taking over a store now. I mean, products are skyrocketing. It seems like every week prices are going up on something. But we want to, provide the best services possible for our community, and we want to just build off of what Kathy and Warren did for 40 years.
Yeah. Well, you do start at kind of the slow time of year, right? The winter, and you can build because I'm sure the summers here must get pretty loco. Is that right?
That's what we've heard.
That makes me nervous. Yeah. So it gets really crazy.
Yeah, and we're really glad to start at this time of year.
Yeah.
Because it enables us to get our sea legs and to put some systems and some staffing into place so that we can really handle the rush that comes in the summer. And so, but we're excited for it, and we're really excited to see and meet all the community members that are just summer folks, and to see all the people that come from the state park. And, so I think there'll be an energy and a buzzing that will be really energizing. So,
Yeah. What have you enjoyed about the experience so far, Mike?
I mean, whenever you're doing something new, like I said, it's my first time doing something like this. It's exciting, and it's fun, and I think one real great thing that I've really enjoyed is Fire Tower Pizza. It's the best pizza I've ever eaten. And we just sort of happened into this. And Jimmy Kaup and Forrest Laporte, they're fantastic. Who run it and make the pizzas, and developing great friendships there. And it's just our pizza nights are just so fun and energetic. That it really gives us sort of insight into what the summer's going to look like, and that's what I've really enjoyed.
Don't get me wrong, I really love meeting the two of you, but I was kind of bummed when I saw that Fire Tower Pizza is only open from 4 to 7 today, or 4 to 8. I wanted to move the show to later in the day so I could be here for it.
Jimmy might stop in. He stopped in earlier.
Well, Kate, you mentioned events that you're going to have. Tell us about some of those that you'd like to do to engage the community here.
Yeah, well, just yesterday we met with some folks to talk about a concert series that we want to have out on the back deck this summer. The Elmore Community Trust did a great event last Labor Day, where they had bands out there and fireworks, and so building off that success, we're really interested in having about once a month music series out here starting Memorial Day and going through Labor Day. And so we're working with people who know the music scene to help us line up some bands. But yeah, we're going to get that going, and we're really excited about it.
Now, has it helped to have Kate to kind of indoctrinate you as to how Vermont does things, the Vermont experiences? I moved here from Miami. I didn't really know too many people, and it was a pretty steep learning curve. I'm here now 19 years, and I feel like I know something about Vermont, and I love it more each day. But has it helped to have a guide moving up here?
Oh yeah, invaluable, invaluable, absolutely. A whole new culture, a whole new way of doing things, and Kate's been incredibly helpful. Everybody's been incredible. Everybody's been so warm and welcoming, and like they know that I'm, Southerner, and have not lived in the North, and they've been very helpful, and a little teasing and prodding from time to time, but I get it.
Yeah,
so it's fun.
Do you know how many gallons of sap it takes to make 1 gallon of syrup?
I have no idea.
I don't even know that.
You're making me look bad now already.
No, I'll give you the answer so that you will know this. Now it's 40 to 1 generally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. You can throw that out there when Ozzy Osbourne stops by. You get about 40 gallons in today. Well, you make about a gallon of syrup, you'll be fine. They'll be like, wow, that Mississippi guy, he knows what he's talking about.
I mean, it's interesting because Morrisville is totally different than when I grew up there. I mean, it has grown so much.
Yeah.
So it is really exciting to sort of rediscover the place with Mike. And even though growing up in Morrisville, like, I didn't know Elmore that well. I'm sort of in my own little bubble there, but so it's been awesome to just meet all these people and really, rediscover all the great things about Morrisville.
Yeah. No kidding. Now, let's see. For people who haven't stopped in to the Elmore store before, Kate, when they're driving on Route 12, why should they stop in here? Why should they come in and see what you've got?
Yeah, well, we're really, I mean, it's incredible how many great farmers and bakers we have just here in Elmore. And so we really are looking to stock ourselves with the local products that make Vermont great. And so we have, Elmore Mountain bread most days deliver here, and that's a hot commodity. So you got to know when it comes and come quick to get it. But we have Elmore Mountain Therapeutics. We have Elmore Mountain Farm stuff, and then a little bit wider, Sweet Rowan and Jasper Hills. Like, there's so many great products that Vermont has, and so we're really excited to showcase them. But we also, if you need a tuna fish, we got that too.
Right.
So I think that we can be that sort of place of convenience, but then also the place where we can really showcase Vermont products. And we're making our own, like Mike said, Fire Tower Pizza, but also, we're going to be producing deli sandwiches and cookies and
Hot Lunch Tuesday.
Yeah, Mike has created
nice.
Hot Lunch Tuesday, which is when we do a hot lunch option for folks. And there isn't another restaurant in Elmore, so we're a good stopping point. And then hopefully this summer, which we're really excited about, is that we're going to bring bagels to Elmore.
You've got the bagel background.
Yeah, that's right. So we're building out a bagel kitchen in the back, and we're going to use the flour milled by Elmore Mountain Bread.
Oh my goodness!
We're going to get some everything bagels out, put some cream cheese locks on it, and you can sit and look at the Elmore Mountain out on the back
I'm ready for one right now.
Yeah.
We've got about a minute left. You're talking about Vermont products. I was over there checking out your beer selection, which is really nice. And you find the Vermont beer scene incredible compared to where you came from.
It's incredible. Yeah, the craft beer scene in Mississippi is only maybe 5 or 6 years old, and so there's not a whole lot of independent brewers down there. But you come up in just Vermont alone, let alone New England, there are some incredible brewers here. And so like we try to bring as much Vermont beer as we can to the shelves, and as well as some of the popular regional beers. But it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a full-time job drinking beer. Try it on. Make sure we have.
You have to become an expert at it.
I will definitely sacrifice myself for that.
And in talking to you about a few that you have in the case, it seems like you're well on your way to understanding it. So well done, Mike. Kate Gluckman and Mike Stanley are operating the Elmore Store, and Elmore is very happy to have them here. I want to thank you both for being on with us this morning.
Thanks for coming.
So much. Yeah, thanks for broadcasting here.
We're going to take a break for a CBS News update, and then we're going to learn about the last one-room schoolhouse still operating in Vermont. Yes, right here in Elmore. As a matter of fact, right across the street from where I am right now. And then coming up today at noon, you can listen to the afternoon news service with Lee Cattell and Brady Farkas. Then we've got the Brady Farkas show this evening, Jazz with George Thomas, and then at 8 o'clock, high school basketball, we've got From the Very Odd, it's Williamstown girls against Lake Region. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV.
Colonel Samuel was a farmer. With his family he did toil. They sold it all to feed the troops as the revolution boiled. When the fighting finally ended and the fertile ground was gone, the government gave the clan some land to plant themselves upon. Elmore Town, Elmore Town, Elmore Town, Elmore.
We're back on Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV from the Elmore Store in Elmore. The song you're hearing, a song written and performed by Elmore resident John Gallimore about Elmore. The song is Seeds of Home. Next on our list of Elmore VIPs is someone who just can't graduate from the Elmore School, and that's the way the folks in Elmore like it. Erica Bellavance is a teacher's assistant at the one-room Elmore School, where she has worked for the past 18 years. Erica, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited about talking about this wonderful little gem we have in Elmore.
Oh, it is a gem. And what grades do you have at the Elmore School?
We have grades 1 through 3.
Right.
Year we did have only years 1 through 2 because there were so many children coming in.
Wow. So how many students go to the Elmore School?
This year we have 18. The lowest amount of children we had one year was 14. We have had 21, but it is a little crowded in there for 21 children.
Did you attend elementary school in a one-room schoolhouse, or I'll call it the traditional format of separated grades?
Right. I unfortunately had to go to traditional school. I would have loved to have an experience like this when I was a child. It's a wonderful thing for all of them to be together with these different age groups and grades all learning together.
Now, that's interesting you say that. My mother attended a one-room school, and growing up, she would just tell us how great it was. I couldn't even fathom the concept. So what are the logistics of teaching students of different grades in one single classroom?
Well, when I first was hired there, I was concerned about this myself. I was wondering how it would possibly work. They're ages 6 through 9, and that's a big difference in age.
Right.
But it works really, really well. It's amazing. Once you get the schedule down and you know what has to be done, it actually works very smoothly. We have 3 different grades, but the older children are learning from the younger. They're learning patience. The younger children are learning from the older children to be responsible. They have small groups where we teach individually different grade levels, but they also have groups of science together where they're helping each other. An older student may help a child understand a word or read a word that they can't pronounce. So it works out really well. They have a lot of together work time, so they're learning from each other, but they also have separate groups. Somehow it all flows together.
Yeah. What was the learning curve like for you when you first started at the Elmore School?
Well, like I said, I thought it would be interesting to see how the whole dynamics of the school work. At first, it was a little overwhelming because you don't have as much free time. You don't have breaks. You have lunch with the students and snack with the students, but it's like a little cohesive family, so it works out very well.
Yeah. And had you taught previously in school with the separate classrooms, or is this the only place you've done this?
This is the only place I've done that with 3 grades, but I have worked in a preschool. I worked in a preschool for a few years, and I also worked with an autistic child for 3 years in a public school.
Gotcha. Now, Erica, what do you think students learning in this one-room environment get that other students don't?
They get a big sense of how important community is. They learn that everybody is individual, but everybody is important. Children are learning at different levels, but they're all helping each other. It's a great place to be. The community is wonderful, very supportive, and you get to know a lot of different people in the community, family members and children.
Yeah, it seems like community in a town like Elmore of just less than 1,000 people is more important than just about anywhere else in the state. From what has happened here at the Elmore Store and what's going on just across the street at the one-room schoolhouse.
Absolutely. So it's a big part of the town. It's a great part of the community. We used to have people, probably 16 years ago, people would just stop, take pictures of the school, and actually come in and ask for a tour. We used to do that right while school was going.
Oh, my God.
It hasn't happened since COVID, but...
I'm glad I wasn't one of those people, although I probably wanted to do that. There was a vote on Tuesday on whether the town should withdraw from the joint school district. The Christian Science Monitor even did a story about Elmore. Now, I think the vote to withdraw was voted down. So will the one-room school in Vermont, in Elmore, survive that vote, survive much longer? What do you think?
Well, I can't really talk too much about the vote because I'm not a taxpayer in the town, but I know that the taxpayers and the community loves the school and wants to support it as long as it can, and I hope it'll be here for many more years to come. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. What do you enjoy specifically about teaching here in Elmore and at the Elmore School?
There's so many things I love about it, but I guess the sense of community and family. You're with these students for 3 years, so you really get to know their families and the students individually. You get to work with them for 3 years, so you know what they really need to work on more or what they can help other students with. So it's just a wonderful place with everybody working together, and they have a big sense of community, the students as well. If there's ever something that's happening in the community, we try to get them involved in it. In the past, there's been people that their houses have burned down. They've made big dinners for them. They supported the post office a couple weeks ago to not have that closed down in Elmore. So it's just a wonderful place to be. There's a lot of people that really care about the individuals there and the community, and it's just a great, strong, community-based place to be.
And Erica, over your 18 years, you must have seen students graduate, from the school, go on to high school, graduate from college, maybe even started careers. Kids that you taught 18 years ago at this little school. So, what traits do you see in them that they developed learning here at the Elmore School?
Oh, you're really aging me here, Rick.
No. I'm much older.
I have run into a few students. Some students stop that haven't been there for many, many years just to stop in and visit. I know that there have been students that have graduated as valedictorian of their class. They've been on the dean's list. I think they really leave the school and grow up realizing that how important a sense of a small community is and how helping each other is always a good thing to do. So a lot of these children are in college now, and they're doing great things. It's wonderful to hear from them when they come back to visit.
You've got to be so proud.
I am very proud of where I work. I love it.
Erica Bellavance.
I hope to be there forevermore.
I hope so. I hope you never graduate.
Right. Thank you.
And I mean that with the most absolute respect I can when saying that. Erica Bellavance has been a teacher's aide at Elmore School for 18 years. It's the last operating one-room schoolhouse in Vermont. Erica, I know this has been kind of a tough day for you. You were sent home, so I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to be on with us this morning.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to return to chat with soap maker Bunny Merrill. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV.
Welcome back to Vermont Viewpoint. I'm Rick Gary. We're at the Elmore Store this morning, and one Elmore fun fact is that George Bailey was born here. Alas, not the George Bailey of It's a Wonderful Life. Elmore's George Bailey served as Vermont's Secretary of State from 1861 to 1865. That George Bailey. Now we're going to get downright sudsy in here. My next guest is the owner of Elmore Mountain Farm, Bunny Merrill. Bunny, welcome to Vermont Viewpoint.
Thank you, Rick.
Great to have you here. It is time to find out about your farm and your products. First of all, give us a description of the Elmore Mountain Farm.
Well, we have some goats and we make soap. But anyway, we started about, can we give you sort of background of where we started?
Yeah, sure.
Well, interestingly, it all started in Elmore because my husband played hockey with Randy Pratt. And Randy Pratt's wife is a vet, Cindy, lives right around the corner. And they came for dinner one night and they brought me a bar of soap that she had made. So they had goats and she bred the goat and she was having fun making cheese, soap and ice cream and butter and everything you can with goat milk. And the bar of soap to me was just sort of eye-opening because I didn't know that you could just make soap. And
Right. Soap just magically appears on store shelves.
I've always appreciated soap, but I never thought about actually making it.
Yeah.
And from the moment we moved to Elmore Mountain Road and we had this huge barn, I had goats just for fun, for pets. And so I thought, just sort of this aha moment, oh gosh, I'd like to make soap. And my husband's creative, and I knew we could do a fun label, and it was the fall, or late summer of 2005. And I thought, great, I'm going to breed the goats and get some milk and make some soap. So obviously, first I didn't buy milk because it doesn't just happen to breeding and getting milk part.
Right.
And so I started making soap. Literally I bought books, went by the book, and Christmas came, and I gave everyone soap for Christmas. And after Christmas, I thought, gosh, like doing this. And so I thought, gosh, I guess I need to start selling it because otherwise I'll have just too much soap. And that's how the business was born. And so my first customer was the Body Lounge in Stowe. And that was in the summer of 2006.
Oh, wow.
And so that's sort of where we are, and I never thought that I'd still be doing it 15 and a half years later, but here we are.
Well, you know, one thing I probably wouldn't have made the connection is goat's milk and soap, not two things I would have put together. So what is it about goat's milk that makes soap so wonderful?
Right. So also, soap has lye in it, which is sodium hydroxide, which is nasty, caustic stuff.
Right.
But you've got to melt that with, usually it's water. But by using not just water as a liquid, by goat milk's closer in pH to your skin, and it's another opportunity to get fat to the finished bar soap. So your goal with soap is you want to have the most amount of fat and have it be as gentle on your skin as possible, and yet you want it to lather and not turn rancid and fall apart. So that's where the lye makes the fat and the oil and the water stick together. So in the old days, they all used lard or tallow as the fat, and lye and water. So those three things. And so the old soap of the old days was pretty harsh on your skin. And so by using the goat milk, it's just another way to make it a little more gentle. And so we love that we sort of creamy, gentle lather.
So you went from making as gifts, making a few bars and getting them, over there in Stowe, and that was back in '06. At what point did you think, oh my gosh, we've really got a following now? I think we're in the soap business.
Well, it was pretty funny how the customers expanded, and Elmore Store was certainly an early customer. And one of the things that we love to sell here are the soap seconds. So we make soap. We make it in these long tubes.
Right.
It's brown. It's like a hockey puck. And when you cut it, it looks like you're cutting a loaf of bread, and you've got these two end pieces, sort of the crust of the bread. And we weren't sure what we were going to do with those. And so early on, we approached Warren and Kathy, and they said, "Sure, we'd love to sell this soap, like the end pieces, if you will." And I remember a few years in coming in and between the sides, people come in, they love to buy those seconds, and sometimes they ask me, "What is a soap second?" Because I just tell them it's only been used once.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Classic art.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. So how has the soap business grown from '06 to today in 2022?
Well, it's been interesting. I'll never forget being on the phone with the gentleman who owned the North Hero store.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he's like,
The Hero's welcome.
Hero's welcome, yes. Because you make goat milk soap, why don't you make goat milk lotion? I'm like, oh gosh, okay, sorry. So the different products sort of came about because, literally someone would say, have you thought of? I had another friend who was dry, cracked feet, and she was dying for foot balm, so thus became the foot balm. I remember talking with Lois Keith about lip balm, and she said, "Oh yeah, it's really easy to make," and she talked me through it, and here's the lip balm. So it's
Oh my
it's
goodness.
just sort of fun, and different friends have said, "Have you thought about making a soap in this scent and in that scent?" And so that's how the different scents have come about.
You just listen to people. You have no original ideas. As a matter of fact, the idea for this soap in the first place.
If you send your breath.
Bunny. Sorry, Bunny, that was really rude of me. I'm sure you have many original ideas.
That's okay.
But you're also wise to
I'm still
listen.
here.
That's right. You're still making the soap. Yeah, it is great to see the diversification. Talk about like the bath and body products that you are making.
So currently I'm soap is our main product,
Right.
and we make a ton of it, and we've had a lot of fun with that because we make, for example, the private label for the Vermont Country Store. So if you go to the Vermont Country Store website, you buy soap from goat milk soap from them. That's all made by us. And so I would say, I'm not sure. Answering your question or not, but anyway, it's sort of
Answer any question you want. Be original.
So I would say that probably more than 50% of our sales is the soap. I should know the exact number. But anyway,
That's
and then the others, all the other products, anything from liquid soaps and body gels to things and lotions and potions.
Yeah.
Is the balance.
Yeah.
But really, soap is the thing that I just love the most. Have fun doing. We also do a lot of private label beer soap. So, for example,
right.
for the Alchemist Brewery in Stowe, maybe rectangle if you buy it at the brewery, but believe it or not, it is made.
All right, because your soaps are always that perfect circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you make these bombs too, and one is something called the Stuffy Head Bomb. And if for no other reason, I wanted to get here this morning and talk to you to find out what is the Stuffy Head Bomb.
Well, both we have a stuffy head and we have an achy muscle, and I think of them both as so for stuffy head, think fixed vapor rub without the petroleum jar.
Oh,
So,
right.
And again, with the achy muscle, it's like Bengay without any petroleum products in it, and so it's using essential oils and menthol crystals as a way to open up the airways. But I always warn people, when you get it on your hands, don't wipe your eyes. And get in really sensitive areas because you will not be thanking me. But it does open up the airways.
That's great. I have to know, what do the goats think of all this?
No, they're great. They're the best part. I mean, they're so much fun. Their pureness, their pen is way outside the soap shop, so we get to watch their antics all day. I mean, goats, they want to be up high, they want to be curious, they occasionally get into trouble, and they're the best. I'm really not milking that much anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not milking. But thanks to Chuck Pratt in North Hyde Park, I buy milk from him, and sometimes from a farm in Hardwick as well.
Well, in addition to some of these products, one thing I have fallen in love with are your goat cards and the skier goat pillowcase. Those are really beautiful. Like, what a great extension of the soap and the body products.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. My husband, Peter, who I wish was here, but he's busy today, but he does all the artwork, and it was interesting. When I first started the business, he did a very tasteful, sort of woodcut looking logo, and it was lovely. But my dad had just died, and I just felt like I needed something to make me smile. And I don't think of myself as a whimsical person, but he came up with this whimsical goat, and it's the rest is history, and it's really fun. His artwork is celebrated by the note cards, and it's
Yeah. Oh, it's such neat stuff.
And I always think, okay, I got an idea of how I would like this to look. And whatever I tell him, it's never what he does, and it's always whatever he does is always so better than I have.
Yeah. And the other thing is you've developed some products for the pandemic. What are those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Soap and these oils spray as well as a mask. So that if at the time that this was bubonic.
Oh, okay. Middle Ages.
There were this kind of great unemployment, economic upheaval, and there were some gentlemen, I believe, who were robbing bodies and weren't getting sick. And they had a background in perfumery and in maybe spices, and so they were aware of the different qualities of different essential oils. And so what they've done is they use essential oils to sort of antibacterial, antimicrobial, to protect themselves. And you see here's those pictures of the duck, like the hood.
Yes, yes.
They put sort of soaking the rags, putting up the nose, and that's where the name crack came from for doctors, because that's where it was.
Oh my goodness.
And they were wearing, anyway, so these people were robbing bodies and weren't getting sick. They were caught ultimately, as the fable goes. And the judge said, okay, I will give you the typical punishment if you tell us what your secret is. And they said, well, the secret is these essential oils.
Wow.
And so he apparently did not burn them at the stake, but he had them
Well, we're going to have to leave it there on that happy note. Buddy Merrill, the owner of Elmore Mountain Farm. You can find all their wonderful products here at the Elmore Store and also online, elmoremountainfarm.com. Buddy, thanks so much for stopping in today. All right. We're going to take a break and then come back, and we're going to meet Kathy Miller, who ran this store for almost 40 years. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV. We're back on Vermont Viewpoint live from the Elmore Store, which of course can only be located in Elmore. This morning's show is sponsored by Sotheby's Honey, a veteran family-owned beekeeping company in Morristown producing Vermont pure honey, sotheby'shoney.com. Elmore Mountain Farm, a farm-based handcrafter of natural body care products located in northern Vermont. Elmore mountainfarm.com, and Osborne Family Syrup, producing certified organic pure maple syrup in Ferdinand, Vermont, osbornemaple.com. Now, anyone who has stopped into the Elmore store over the past almost 4 decades, you should probably know my next guest. Kathy Miller, along with her late husband Warren, owned and operated the Elmore store since 1983. Kathy Miller, it is an honor to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here.
Good morning. You look just perfectly at home
I
right
took my
now.
coat off and said, it's just weird because I never sat down. So
That's right.
it's just like, oh, things look a little bit different sitting here, but it's awesome. Mike and Kate are just meant to be here.
Yeah, and we're over in this section. If somebody needs like windshield wiper fluid or antifreeze, we're just going to have to hand it to them when they
If they
come
need
in.
dog food or cat food, we're here to help.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you go back. Your family.
I'm a fifth generation Elmore resident, so
Wow.
born and raised here. It's pretty cool. Elmore Mountain was actually owned by my great grandparents.
Oh my gosh.
And my grandparents were the rangers on top of Elmore Mountain. Thelma Kiley just recently passed away. She lived here in Elmore. She was part of the Spalding Farm, which is also part of the Elmore State Park. So a lot of history and a lot of cool stuff.
Well, what does this town then mean to you?
Elmore is home. Home with a big H-O-M-E. It means everything. It's Warren and I walked in 1983 as a couple. We were just kids. I was 19. Warren was 21. And we walked in on July 6, 1983, 4th of July weekend. And the previous owner shook our hand and said, bye. We're like, okay. See you, Howie. Warren and I had worked for the Tomlinson family in Morrisville before that, and Johnson and I worked for the original family in Morrisville before that. So we knew what we were doing. We just were a little out of our element. It's just been a wonderful, wonderful ride. It's been an honor to be the storekeepers. I've always told people, they say, how is it to own a store? And I say, you don't own the store owns you. It's a live, living, breathing creature. And she is alive with her customers, with her vendors, with Jimmy in the back, Warren and I in the front. Just always is vibrant. And some long, cold winter days, I can tell you in the beginning.
Oh, sure.
We're like waiting for the plow truck. Heck, we're waiting for cars to come by.
Yeah.
But we're pretty busy now, and a wonderful, wonderful loyal support.
I love it. And what is it, you know, having this tie to the town, what is it that makes Elmore Elmore?
Heart. Big old hearts. Anywhere from the only one-room schoolhouse left in the state of Vermont.
Right.
You saw a real tribute to our kids and our teacher and everybody. Parents, storekeepers, everybody's involved with the kids. With the recent thing with the post office. I mean, I always say little hearts in a big town.
Yeah.
And all these little hearts, the kids, store customers, friends, they become your friends, they become your family. And dogs come in, and it's just like everybody's part of the family. So it's the heart, and everybody cares. I think the biggest change that we've seen is the big box stores hitting.
Yeah.
But we've had everybody has a niche, and our niche is being part of the community. Everybody comes in, you're welcome to the high. Goodbye, you get a hug. I could just go on and on and on about stories, but like with the school kids, we always have an agreement with parents because we have so few parents. Like we have capacity for 21 students.
Right.
We always say if you can't pick up your kids, just they can come to the store.
Oh.
Well, these kids just hope their parents don't pick them up. And I always say you can have what you want to eat and drink. No Mountain Dew, no bread bowl, but whatever you eat and whatever you get, your parents are going to pay for when they get here, so they love it in the summertime when we have ice cream cones. So it's a safe place. It's a haven. It's not just about buying things. If there's a death in the family, if there's a birth in the family, COVID has been a huge one. Lost Warren through that, and it's amazing. Sorry, I get a little choked up.
It's all right. You're allowed.
Your deck's shoveled. Your driveway's plowed. There's food for you. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and what has changed in Elmore through all this time?
Not really the population. You see, people coming in, going a few more houses, and like I said, the box stores. But people stopped here. Warren and I, about 10 years ago, it was like, okay, we're like everybody else. And I'm on the Vermont Grocers Association Board of Directors.
Right.
I was the second ever woman chairman of the board. 1935 Boys Club. It was awesome. Got to travel to D.C. 3 times. But when I started the association in 1987, we had 750 grocery stores. Small mom and pop stores like we do now.
Yeah.
You know how many we have now? 85.
Oh my goodness.
85.
Wow.
So
We pay so much
it's
attention
like
to
farms.
the reduction in dairy farms. but-
It's like farms. So you hunker in. The farmers aren't just doing milk now. It's organic. They're doing their produce. They're having eat at the farm and farm to plate things. So Warren and I started getting more local. Across the road, Andrew Allen, young man, he's in a wheelchair, started a farm. He liked the planet Jupiter, so it's called Jupiter Farm. Got all the fresh produce from there, and then it spun off the milk, Andrew's eggs. We do a lot of Andrew's eggs, and Andrew is he does sign language, and you'll ask him why does the chicken cross the road to bring our eggs to the Elmore store. And local meats, Keith Brothers on the Elmore Mountain Road, Elmore Mountain Bread. Oh my gosh, it's just.
I know.
We have the post office. I mail their bread. I mail their bread all over the country. People come in the summertime and say, "Oh, I can't ever have this again." But you ain't gonna put a post office. So I cut them in half. I put them in Ziploc bags and put them in priority boxes, and away they go.
Oh, that's brilliant. What did it mean? How did it feel when this community board, this community
Transfer?
trust came forward and said, we want to preserve this?
I'd be lying if I told you it wasn't hard. Because it's me.
Right.
But it's wonderful. Blair and Warren started talking, 4, maybe 5 years ago. Warren knew. He'd had a whole life of sickness, and he knew it was going to be time to pass the torch. So he and Blair started talking. And Blair brainstormed this, let's get a community trust organized. And I think it's different than other setups. There's a 10-member board, and they have met every Monday for the last 2 years. So what they've done is all privately funded. There's no town liability. We didn't raise taxes. There wasn't any state taxes implemented or anything. The Vermont Preservation Trust has been amazing. We did receive a huge grant from them. So it's passing the torch. It's meant to be. You just know you just feel it. They've taken ownership. And then it was quite a process. They put out for looking for a new storekeeper. Right. And Mike and Kate made it to the finale, and here they are. The little mom and pop stores need a mom and pop.
Yeah.
That's what's really important. And we've got a new and a new mom, and it feels good. It took me probably 5 weeks to come in. I made it to the mailbox first, and I was like, I had to breathe.
Right.
But no, it feels good to sit here. I'm home. I walked in yesterday. Jimmy's prepping for pizzas, and I'm in the back, and he did some banana peppers. So he's made a hunk of banana peppers. And I'm in today having a cup of coffee, and Mike and Kate call me. They text me, and like, we got snow out back. Who do we call? So, and that's what customers do. And they come to town and say, don't hesitate to call us. We're here for you. So anyway, that needs to know anything, or one day, I'll never forget, I had this lady walk in the store, and I walked around the corner. She had a dog in her hand, and she hands me this white dog, and I said, hello? She says, well, I don't know where it belongs. And I said, well, it doesn't belong here. Well, it was in here at 12, and I have to go to work. And I'm like, I am working. So I got this cute little white puppy. I said, okay, bye. So I called the local dog catcher, Ken Haggett, who's the local dog musher as well. And I said, Ken, I have this little white dog, and here's the tag number. So lo and behold, she had to have her treats and her milk and so forth, or water at the store. And so, yeah, that's what we're all about.
Beautiful. If you have a lost dog, you take it to the local general store.
Well, I don't encourage that. You can call the general store, and we'll help you.
I love
Or if
it.
we can put our face on it, we'll say, okay, that's so-and-so's dog.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for everyone in Vermont, everyone in the town of Elmore for what you and Warren have done here through all these years.
And Warren and I would like to thank everybody. I mean, absolutely everybody that's been involved. I mean, it's not just the state of Vermont. It's throughout the United States. We have friends in Wales. We have friends all over the place, and it's pretty near and dear. So thank you, everybody.
Oh, beautiful. Kathy Miller, thank you so much. We're going to take a break and then return for our live broadcast here at the Elmore Store. Next up, we'll meet the owners of the Elmore Sugar House. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV. right down the road a little to the Elmore Sugar House. And I think we might have picked the right week to be here. I'm thinking next week the taps are going to be just gushing like jackpot-winning slot machine in Vegas. Joining me now is the owner of the Elmore Store, Faith Boudreau. I want to thank you so much for being here, Faith.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
So it's the Elmore Sugar House store.
Elmore Sugar House Store.
There's too many Elmore things going on, but yes, that's true.
All right. Elmore Sugar House Store. Got it? Okay, great. Now, I want to talk about the Sugar House and the Sugar House Store, but I'm kind of a softie, and I'd love to hear about the love story between you and Mike, and how he met Faith Jordan.
So Kathy really set us up for this.
Kathy Miller, who was just here.
Right. Warren was the chair of the school board when they interviewed me to be the teacher at the Elmore School. And the year started off wonderfully. It was a wonderful, wonderful position for me, and things were going along smooth.
Where did you move here from?
I moved here from southern Vermont. I had taught in southern Vermont and wanted a smaller school, and you can't get much smaller
than a one-room schoolhouse here in Elmore.
and it was really a special place. And Warren really wanted, I was teaching Kathy and Warren's daughter. She was in first grade. And so he was not only the school board chair, but he was part of the parents of the Elmore School. And so he really wanted me to stay. And he knew that one of his friends from high school, they had graduated together, gone to school together in Morrisville, had recently bought the Elmore Sugar House property from the Jocelins and was single. And so he did indeed set us up. He told Michael that he should come check out the Elmore School teacher. And Michael was working in Colchester at the time. So he wasn't in town a lot during daylight hours, really only on the weekends working on the sugaring operation. And he really had not known about me or seen me at all. So he showed up one night, because I used to keep very late hours, and knocked on the door of the sugar house, on the school. And the joke between Michael and I is that I thought he was a parent. I thought because it was only October, I had only had a month to really get to know the family. And when I glanced out, I assumed he was one of the dads. And that's why I let him in. And he told me that he was the welcome wagon from Elmore, and he brought me, yes, he's very proud of that. And he brought me syrup. So it was syrup that brought us together.
What I find interesting is that you said the year started out great, and I'm not sure if that was like, and then this happened, or, and then it got even greater.
It got even greater.
There you go. Well done, Faith.
Right. It was, yeah.
All right, let's talk about that Sugar House store. Give us a little history of the store, and when you guys took over.
So Michael bought the property in 1989 from Mac and Dot Jocelyn, who were big members of the Elmore community, and remained so. They had built a new house on property over on Elmore Mountain Road, which is where some of our trees are. And Michael took over in '89, and really Mac Jocelyn showed him the ropes for probably the whole first year. Sugared, boiled with him the first season, taught him, woods work, all the kinds of stuff like that, because Michael didn't have any sugaring in his background.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really a gift. However, the Sugar House operation was really intended always to be Michael's retirement plan. And so the issue was that he was working full time in Colchester. So that created quite a wrinkle for him. So he worked really, really hard. Met me in 92, and we were married in 93, and then proceeded to just go on with life and ups and downs of sugaring. So we did not open the Elmore Sugar House store until last year. It's been open just a year.
Wow.
Michael sold syrup both bulk and he also had a lot of mail order customers, but not a sugar house front. But that was always his intention.
Yeah.
And so we thought COVID was a good time to see if we could dip our toes in and make it work. And the thing that I really cherish about the Elmore Sugar House store is that we've chosen to have it be a spotlight on Elmore artisans. So we have pottery from Dirt Floor Studios. We have pot holders and placemats and table runners from two seamstresses in town. We have jewelry. We have woven baskets. We have forged ironwork from a couple of people in Elmore. We have photography from Elmore. And I'm probably forgetting. Oh, and my daughter makes goat milk soda. So we have that too, and then all of our products. Oh, and lip balm from Trillium Hollow Farms. So just a lot. Oh, and goat, of course, Elmore Mountain Goat Farms.
Yeah.
So,
And so before all of this, how much sugaring knowledge, tapping of trees have you done?
me, zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, zero. Yeah, I grew up on a dairy farm in Connecticut, so although I was well acquainted with rural communities, nothing, no.
Yeah.
It was always, yeah.
Do you know all about it now? Are you pretty adept?
No. I'm not pretty adept, but I am a willing partner.
That's well done.
And I am an enthusiastic supporter of all things Elmore. So that. Oh, and I should also say that when things kind of became more difficult here at the Elmore store, we finally felt like it was okay for us to open up a creamy stand. So we sell maple creamies in the summer as well.
Nice.
We always had tried, not just because we were friends, but because it's good policy to not be in conflict with the Elmore store.
Right.
So we tried to veer away from things like that.
Well, I do love that emphasis you put on the artisans of the area. What a great outlet for people to stop in and find some wonderful gifts there, I would imagine, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, Stained Glass by Ken Hackett. Yeah,
Oh, my.
Just a lot of amazing things.
Beautiful.
Elmore's an amazing place.
It is. There's not even 1,000 people here. I don't know how you all do it. I'm blown away, coming here and meeting people, finding out about what's going on. So let's talk about the sugaring operation. I'll tax your brain a little here, but do you know how many trees you're tapping out there?
9,500.
Whoa.
It used to be a bit more. We had some problems with tent caterpillars and lost some trees, but yeah.
Okay, that's a robust operation.
Yeah.
And have you started to boil this year? What have you seen?
Yes, we have a full-time employee. His name is Caleb Sutterby, without whom nothing could happen. And we boiled once. And made some nice syrup, and of course we're looking forward. That's what you always do in sugaring, is you look forward.
You do indeed.
Yeah.
I don't even sugar. I mentioned this last week. I live in an apartment building. I don't have a tree, and yet I look at this time of year. I check the temperatures every day to see if the sap is going to flow. I mean, you probably, as a school teacher across the street here, you probably thought, okay, it's going to be 35, tonight and 24 tonight, and thought, big deal. I know what sweater I need to wear, what jacket I need to take. Now you see that and your eyes light up thinking, oh yeah, sap's going to flow.
Yeah. Except it's always a mystery. It's not just temperature.
Yeah.
The sap decides to flow, and each sugar bush is different, which is why syrup can taste different from sugar house to sugar house.
Yeah.
But yes.
And, I know there's the new grading system, but I still go with the old. But what is your favorite of the syrups?
Michael and I just talked about this last night, because I use dark only strictly in cooking. We have a lot of customers from the south, and they prefer dark. But I would never have dark on pancakes or ice cream or in my coffee or anything like that. So I am firmly a medium girl. Delicate is off the spoon. Delicate is just heavenly. It's exactly what it's called. Yeah.
I love it. Do you do sugar on snow at the Sugar
Well,
House?
actually, this year we're trying to formulate a plan. It's a little bit difficult because of the current situation, but maybe we're emerging from the clouds of COVID and we'll be able to pull off something. But yes.
No, we have not heard of another really serious variant in weeks, so who knows?
Yeah.
We may be emerging, which would be the most
right. And we didn't have to. I'm also the Elmore School librarian, and we didn't have to have masks on yesterday. So I did a big unveiling because I realized that we have a couple of new kids this year, and who are new to Elmore. So most of the kids know me from Elmore events. The town does a lot of events for kids throughout the year, and I realized that they had never seen my whole face.
Oh my goodness! Oh, isn't that something?
And I had visited the kids during recess one day because for a while they did not need to wear masks at recess, and I realized that this little girl was missing teeth, and I was like, wow, when did that happen? It's such a big deal. Being so excited, and she looked puzzled because it had been months and months ago.
Yeah.
And they just hadn't worn in, but of course I had no way of knowing that.
Oh my gosh, boy, there is a premium on seeing faces, happy, smiling, changing, all that, and we're learning that more and more, aren't we? Wow, what lessons we have learned from this pandemic. Faith Boudreau, owner of the Elmore Sugar House store here on Route 12. Their website address is elmoresugarhouse.com. Faith, thank you so much for being on the show this morning. This was great talking to you. And I'm glad that you told us all about that beautiful love story.
Turns out that famous love story.
We're going to take a break for a CBS News update, and then we'll be back to hear from the folks at Elmore Mountain Bread. Coming up today at 11 o'clock on WDEV, stay tuned for Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre, and at 1:30 we've got the Governor's COVID-19 Response News Conference. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV.
There's a little quaint place in northern Vermont. Some like to call it the beauty spot. There's a mountain and a lake, so much more. It's the place I call home. It's Lake Elmore. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. When you visit downtown, go to the Elmore Store. You'll be greeted with a smile, so much more. See Kathy and Warren and all of your friends. It's a place to start your day or the evening's end. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. It happens in the summer at the lake, inside the town hall, so don't be late. Bring a baked good and you're ready to go. It's a family night when you play bingo. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. So now you know the secret of our little town. We hope you come to visit, just come on down. Your visits to the lake will make you want to shout. Fun times with friends, with family is what it's all about. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. Where am I going, Roland? Going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. There's a little quaint place in northern Vermont. Some like to call it the beauty spot. There's a mountain and a lake, so much more. It's the place to call home. It's Lake Elmore. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. When you visit downtown, go to the Elmore Store. You'll be greeted with a smile, so much more. See Kathy and Warren and all of your friends. It's a place to start your day or the evening's end. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. It happens in the summer at the lake, inside the town hall, so don't be late. Bring your baked good and you're ready to go. It's a family night when you play bingo. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. So now you know the secret of our little town. We hope you come to visit, just come on down. Your visits to the lake will make you want to shout. Fun times with friends, with family is what it's all about. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. Where am I going, Roland? Going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont.
Welcome back to Vermont Viewpoint, and welcome back to Elmore Store, where we're broadcasting live this morning. I like food, and I have friends who write about food for a living. It takes a lot for them to get super jazzed about a particular bakery or bread maker, but the food writers I know speak of Elmore Mountain Bread with a special reverence, and it's time to learn why. Joining me now is the owner of Elmore Mountain Bread, Blair Marvin. Blair, welcome to Vermont Viewpoint.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you stopped kneading for a few minutes to pop on over to the store, so thank you. I want to hear the full story of how you became a bread maker, wound up here in Elmore.
Oh my goodness. About 20 years ago, I grew up in Johnson, so born and raised in Lamoille County, but moved away for college and brought my husband back to Vermont for a couple of years to live. And I was working in a cafe in Morrisville, and I was buying baguettes from this really, really small, tiny wood-fired bakery. They were making like maybe 100 loaves a week, something like that. But I was one of their only restaurant customers. And the guy came in one day and said, "Hey, I need to sell the bakery in the house. Do you know anybody that would be interested in buying a house, 10 acres, in a wood-fired bakery?" Now, Andrew and I, my husband, had a history in food and restaurants and had gone to culinary school after college, but and knew nothing about bread. But we said, "Oh, let's go check this out. We'd be really curious to see." I wanted to know where the bread came from. And I went up there and visited, and I was like, this is my home. This. I need to do this. I don't know how to bake bread or to manage a wood-fired oven, but I somehow, before I knew it, we had purchased the bakery and the business, and we put our heads down and taught ourselves how to bake bread. And this we just entered our 18th year of owning Elmore Mountain Bread this year.
Oh my goodness! You also one of the other keys is I think you have your own flour, and so I don't know what came first, the flour or the stone mill, but you grind your own flour, right?
Yeah. So the way we make bread is very traditional: wood-fired oven, naturally leavened sourdough breads, and to have that kind of inquisition, like curiosity into baking bread with that kind of level of attention to taking those extra steps in the bread.
Yeah.
Naturally, we were very curious about our primary ingredient, flour. And so once we kind of had the bakery dialed and our processes really under control and feeling really good about our business, we wanted to get to know our primary ingredient more. And living in Vermont with such a strong agricultural presence here, it made sense for us to want to evolve into using all Vermont wheat. And so we started to look at what it would be like and what we would need to do to be able to source 100% of our organic wheat, rye, spelt, other cereal grains from Vermont farmers. And because the flour comes from a seed, you have to find a way to grind it. And there was no mill here for us to grind the seed, the wheat, berries into flour. So my husband has an engineering background and really likes to design and build machines and tools and that sort of thing. And so he set about designing our own flour mill so that would allow us to be able to mill 100% of our flour on site the day before we bake the bread and be able to purchase 100% of our wheat from local farmers here in Vermont.
Have you been able to do that, to get all the grains here in Vermont? It used to be the breadbasket of New England.
It's true.
Yeah.
So it's been a long, slow process for us because there weren't that many, when we wanted to do this, there actually weren't that many farmers growing grains.
Right.
This is about 7 years ago. And it's taken us up until last year, about a year and a half ago, actually, now that I think about it, to be 100% Vermont grain. So we have reached that goal, and there's plenty of beautiful grains being grown around Vermont now. And there's also tons of bakeries who are using these local flours and are having mills in their bakery and enabling themselves to be able to do the same.
We'll talk about tons of bakeries having these mills. They're made by your husband, Andrew, right? Like, this has become a business within the business. It all started, hey, do you know anybody who wants to buy this wood-fired bakery? And it's taken like the next thing and the next thing. He now builds these stone mills for other people, right?
Yeah, so it turns out this mill that we built works really well, and the baking community is really close and sharing information, and so the bakers from around the country kind of started coming to us and saying, oh, we heard you have this tool that works really well. Would you build one for us? And Andrew's like, oh, okay, sure. And so we kind of turned half of our garage into a workshop, and as more and more of these mills came in to be ordered and he agreed to build them, it very quickly snowballed into what's now a very large business. So last year we moved New American Stone Mills just down the road into Morrisville because we needed loading docks and space and three-phase power. And now he's built, I think it's close to 160 mills all around the world and the United States.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. Does he get to make bread anymore? Does he still?
No, he's actually pretty much transitioned out of the bakery for the most part and is building the mills for other bakeries. But, the beauty of this business is that it's all about connecting the farmers, the bakers, the restaurateurs, the pastry chefs, and with a tool that allows them to repair the disconnect between farmers and grain. And so even though he's not in the bakery regularly, his work is so involved in the process still, and it's kind of it's sort of a lever that kind of allows that connection to be to be made.
Yeah. Now, I think there's one more part of the empire, and we're sitting pretty close to it, right? Firehouse Pizza.
Fire Tower Pizza,
is
yeah.
yours too.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, that's an amazing thing. Several years ago, Warren and Kathy teamed up with John and Kristen Howell, some local Elmore residents, and myself to form Fire Tower Pizza. I made the pizza dough, they made the pizza, and the Millers put in the kitchen for it. And it was a way to just kind of increase the vibrancy of the store and to bring in more people. John and Kristen were ready to move on from Fire Tower several years ago, and they offered the business to me, and I partnered with a local chef, Jimmy Kelp, to purchase Fire Tower Pizza and keep it going, because it was like Elmore's amazing, and the Elmore store is amazing, but what would make it better? Pizza. And having pizza still be in the store. So it was an amazing opportunity, and for me it was also another way to get these local Vermont grains into people's diets and mouths other than just bread. So.
All right, let's go back to bread now. And I opened up and I told you about the food writers that I know, like Melissa Passinen and Sally Pollack, who, when they would get Elmore Mountain bread, they would just be like, "Oh my God, what is happening? What is it that makes this bread so wonderful?" And tell us about some of the different breads too that you make.
Well, I think that everything about the bread is about attention to detail and finding a story and a connection. So everything I do, I try to have purpose behind it. Down to, you were just speaking with the Elmore Sugar House. So they're part of what they do, their sugar maker, Caleb Sotheby, cuts all the firewood for the bakery for my wood-fired oven. I burn 30 cord a year, and so all the firewood for the oven comes from down the road. All the grain comes from the farmers, and it's about developing relationships and then being able to, it's really easy to make something whenever you are to be excited about it and to be able to telling this. I'm trying to tell the story of these relationships through the bread, and I'm very lucky to live in a place where I'm able to have connection with my customers and the restaurants that I work with to tell that story, and it's easy for me to stay excited about what I'm doing every day and have that translate into the product.
We've only got a few seconds left, but I know you know, Johnson will always be your home, but you're here in Elmore. What do you love about being in Elmore and with these people?
Oh my gosh, I love everything about this town. I love the store. I love the school. My son went to the Elmore School. He's now in 5th grade in Morrisville. But I love the way that the town has supported all of our businesses. I'm part of the Elmore Community Trust in the last couple of years, really seeing the town rally around the store and hold on to the importance of that, and seeing the importance of keeping our rural landscapes, working landscapes in our small towns vital, is really intoxicating, and just everything about this place.
Blair Marvin, owner of Elmore Mountain Bread, Fire Tower Pizza here in Elmore. It was so great meeting you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to check in with John Ozzy Osborne of the Elmore Community Trust. This is Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV.
It's a mountain and a lake, so much more. It's the place I call home. It's Lake Elmore. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. When you visit downtown, go to the Elmore Store. You'll be greeted with a smile, so much more. See Kathy and Warren and all of your friends. It's a place to start your day or the evening's end. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. It happens in the summer at the lake, inside the town hall, so don't be late. Bring a baked good and you're ready to go. It's a family night when you play bingo. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. So now you know the secret of our little town. We hope you come to visit, just come on down. Your visits to the lake will make you want to shout. Fun times with friends, with family is what it's all about. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. Where am I going, Roland? Going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. There's a little quaint place in northern Vermont. Some like to call it the beauty spot. There's a mountain and a lake, so much more. It's the place I call home. It's Lake Elmore. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. When you visit downtown, go to the Elmore Store. You'll be greeted with a smile, so much more. See Kathy and Warren and all of your friends. It's a place to start your day or the evening's end. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. It happens in the summer at the lake, inside the town hall, so don't be late. Bring a baked good and you're ready to go. It's a family night when you play bingo. I'm going to Lake Elmore. I sure do like it a lot. I'm going to Lake Elmore, the beauty spot of Vermont. So now you know the secret of our little town. We hope you come to visit, just come on down. Your visits to the lake will make you want to shout. Fun times with friends, with family is what it's all about. I'm going to Lake Elmore.
And welcome back to the Elmore Store. You're listening to Lake Elmore Bingo. You know, you drive around the state, you stop in at our 251 cities and towns, and you will hear some amazing stories of community, but I'm not sure we'll find anywhere in Vermont where members of the town have stepped up in some unheard of ways. And saving our community store, creating a scholarship fund to honor the former owner of the store. This was accomplished here in Elmore by the Elmore Community Trust and the residents of Elmore. And with me now, we're going to keep Blair Marvin overtime because she's the president of the Community Trust. And joining me now too is John Ozzy Osborne, the owner of Osborne Family Maple. He's also a Community Trust board member. John, welcome.
Thanks for coming, Ray. Nice to be back on your show again.
Great to have you. You know, that's 2 songs we've had about Elmore this morning, so I think per capita it probably has more songs written about it than anywhere else in the state. John, why and when did the Elmore Community Trust form?
Well, I have to give a lot of the credit to Blair on that. She began the early conversations with Warren and Kathy about a succession plan, and realized, you know, there are other examples of this being done throughout the state: Barnard, Putney, Guilford, and you know, Blair, working with the Preservation Trust of Vermont, realized that this was a viable model that we could replicate here in Elmore, and she started reaching out, looking for people to join the cause, and I really needed to take a project on like this, like I needed a hole in my head, because I have enough stuff going on in my life, but I felt it was important, you know, as a store customer, as a post office box holder, as a vendor in the store, but beyond that, just understanding, you know, living in the village, the importance of the role that the store plays in the community.
Yeah.
So I gladly signed on.
Well, Blair, talking about needing another project, we've gone through all the businesses that you've got going on. You didn't need this either, but why did you have to do this? Why did this idea of community trust and working to save the store appeal to you, feel like you had to do this?
Well, you know, it really came from my conversations with Warren and Kathy Miller, and listening to them, and you know, trying to hold on to their legacy and keep the store in, you know, serving the town as it does. You know, you see so many general stores closing and either remaining vacant or becoming something else, or you know, as a vendor here and attendant at this Elmore Mountain Bread and Fire Tower, you know, I really was lucky to get an inside view and perspective on just exactly how important this store is to our town. And so I was fortunate enough to be put in contact with Paul Brune of the Preservation Trust of Vermont, and was able to sit down with him just a few short months before he passed away, sadly, and talk to him about this. And he thought that the Elmore Store would be a great project and fall into the model that of community supported stores very well, and so that's how the conversation got started.
Yeah, Paul Brune, another of our gems in Vermont, great individual,
100%.
right? Ozzy, am I right about the figure? $400,000 had to be raised to save this store?
Correct. To get us through the first phase, which was the acquisition.
Yeah.
We have a lot more work to do fundraising in terms of the preservation and stabilization of the building. That's down the road, but we were fortunate enough to get the board of training with one of the most renowned fundraisers in Vermont, Christine Graham, with funding from PTV, and you know, we left that with more confidence, but also it was a scary thought to try and raise $400,000 in the time frame that we had in such a small community.
And particularly with COVID, because normally in these types of scenarios you are holding public events and, you know, community Q&As and parties and various fundraisers, and we weren't able to do that, but because of COVID. But it also allowed us the time to really focus as a board and to put the time and energy and thought into how to build the most efficient and comprehensive fundraising plan we could via the guidance of Christine Graham and the Preservation Trust.
And we should talk about Elmore. I mean, is it 800 or 900 people who live here, right? I mean, this is not a couple thousand people you're drawing from. Now, granted, you have summer guests who come and stay here, but it's phenomenal to think what you've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, I've worked for a nonprofit, statewide nonprofit for 23 years, and I've always avoided fundraising like the plague. Just wasn't in my wheelhouse. But being involved on the fundraising committee for this project has totally changed my perspective, and I really enjoy that part of it, and having conversations with donors and potential donors about the importance of this project to our community.
A few weeks ago, one of the key elements of this store, it was in jeopardy, and that is the post office right next to us here. Thankfully, that was saved, but those had to be anxious moments for all of you at the Trust when you heard Blair that the Postal Service might not renew the contract.
Yeah, it was we closed on the building, and literally 48 hours later, we received notice that they were planning on pulling the post office boxes. And there was two things that we were always doing: that the store would remain the store that would serve our community, and we would have the post office in the same light. And to suddenly get that information sent to us was nothing less than shocking, and it really demonstrated the resiliency of our board and the support that this community has for our store. And we were able to call. We were very lucky to still have the support of the Preservation Trust, and our entire congressional delegation step up and help us and be able to make enough movement and noise to keep these boxes here.
Feels like 10 years ago, like Team Bo, it was Team Elmore all of a sudden. Everybody came together and saved that.
It was one of those, it's a lot of behind the scenes work that the board has done over the last 2 years. And to see the outpouring of public support around not just the fundraising for the store, but then with the post office box issue, and to be part of that press conference when Peter Welch arrived and have the kids march across the street with homemade signs, saving the Elmore post office. It was very rewarding and made all the hard work worth it.
It almost seems like a movie script. Like being here in Elmore is not real. I'm just, it's just a neat, kitschy movie. But this is what really happens in this beautiful little town.
Every day.
Yeah. How's the sugaring going, John?
Well, we've boiled one so far. I to be honest with you, I was hoping I wouldn't be here today. But the weather did cooperate. But it looks like things are going to perk up here Sunday, and hopefully we have a good season to make up for the short crop last year.
Outstanding. That's John Ozzie Osborne, a member of the Elmore Community Trust, Blair Marvin, president of the Community Trust, and I want to thank you both. Thanks for sticking around. A little extra, little overtime. Blair and John, thanks for coming in.
Thanks again, Rick, for coming here.
Thank you, Rick.
I should mention that Osborne Family Maple, one of the sponsors this morning, helping us be here at the Elmore Store. You can find them at VermontOsborneMaple.com. The other sponsors, Sotheby's Honey, a veteran family-owned beekeeping company in Morristown, producing Vermont Pure Honey, Sotheby'sHoney.com. And Elmore Mountain Farm, a farm-based handcrafter of natural body care products located in northern Vermont, ElmoreMountainFarm.com. That is our show for today. Vermont Viewpoint, directed by Danny McGiverigan. And listeners, please feel free to suggest guests or topics or a place you think we should broadcast from during WDEV's 90th anniversary tour. And you can email vtviewpoint@radiovermont.com. Next stop in a couple of weeks, we're going to be at the Hastings store in West Danville, site of Joe's Pond, just before Ice Out. So join us then. You can listen to past episodes of Vermont Viewpoint by downloading our podcast at WDEVradio.com. Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre is up next. We've got the governor's COVID-19 response news conference today from 1:30 to 2:30. I'm Rick Singari. I'll meet you back here tomorrow when I speak with Bob Sue Minter of Capstone Community Action, and we learn about the blessing of the snowmobiles and the work of school nurses during this pandemic.